Hey everyone, welcome to your very own deep dive. And today we're looking into Chase Chrisley.
Chase Chrisley.
Yeah, and let me tell you, things are not looking so good for him lately.
Oh no.
You sent over a whole bunch of articles and online discussions
Mm-mm.
about his recent arrest for assault. And I gotta say, it's a pretty wild story.
Yeah, I bet.
So Chase is the son of Todd and Julie Chrisley.
Right.
You know those reality TV stars who kind of had their own run-in with the law?
Right.
But, we're not really here to rehash all of their drama.
Right.
Today, it's all about Chase.
Okay.
We're going to see how his story compares to his parents, and I think maybe we can, figure out what it all means for someone who's, trying to make it on their own when their family name comes with so much baggage.
Interesting.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think what's so interesting here is how much Chase's public image has really changed over the years.
Yeah.
Remember how he was on Chrisley Knows Best?
Oh,
He
yeah.
was like that fun-loving prankster, always kind of pushing the limits, but like ultimately harmless?
Yeah, kind of a lovable goofball, right?
Right, exactly. And now we're seeing like a totally different side of him.
Totally different side.
It makes you wonder, was that really him on the show?
Right.
Was that genuine, or was it all just a big act, a carefully crafted facade?
That's a great question.
And how much do you think that image that he portrayed on TV might have influenced his actions later in life?
Ooh, that's a great point. Like, we were all introduced to this, happy-go-lucky guy.
Mm-hmm.
And now things have taken a bit of a dark turn.
Yeah.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
Uh,
We've got all these articles, and
yeah.
you flagged a few things about Chase's past that might give us some clues.
Yeah.
One that really stood out to me was that federal tax demand from back in 2019
Oh, yeah.
for over $16,000 in unpaid taxes.
Right. And, it's definitely not on the same scale as his parents' whole tax evasion scheme.
Right.
We're talking millions of dollars there, but
Yeah. It's still,
it still makes you wonder, right?
yeah.
Did he pick up some bad habits from his parents?
Yeah. I mean, growing up, seeing them basically disregard financial responsibility,
Well, is nothing, right?
did that somehow influence his own approach to taxes?
Totally.
Or are we just connecting dots that aren't really there?
You've got me thinking now, like, we always hear about how kids learn by watching their parents.
Absolutely.
And Chase literally grew up in this world of, Chrisley Knows Best, where the rules seemed pretty flexible.
It's true.
Right.
They did things their own way.
It's like the Chrisley name became like this code word for creative finances.
Right.
Let's just put it that way. But okay, before we get too deep into their heads,
Okay.
maybe we should look at Chase's attempts to, make a name for himself outside of the family business.
That's a good idea.
Build his own career.
Yeah.
So there's that whole luxury candle line.
Oh, right. The candles.
Yeah, which seems to have kind of fizzled out.
Yeah. Not much there.
And then there's all this stuff online,
Yes.
especially on Reddit,
Oh, Reddit.
about Chase promoting some shady business deals.
It's almost like he was trying to follow in his dad's footsteps,
Interesting.
but maybe not in the best way.
Not in the way you'd want to.
Yeah, not in the way you'd want to, right?
Oh.
And you found this one Reddit comment
I did.
that I thought really summed it up.
Okay.
It said, Chase is now promoting scams. His candle business is dead.
Ouch.
Kind of harsh.
Yeah.
But, right?
But kind of true.
Kind of true. Okay, so
Yeah.
speaking of businesses that didn't quite work out,
Yeah.
what about that whole Chrisley box fiasco?
Yes, the Chrisley.
People paid for these subscription boxes,
Yep.
but a lot of them never got anything.
Right.
It's like the Chrisley name went from, ticket to fame and fortune to like a warning sign,
Yeah.
like a big red flag.
Buyer beware.
One Reddit user even said that any business Chase tries to start is going to fail just because of his last name.
Oh, that's brutal.
It's tough out there. And then there's the whole real estate thing.
Oh, yeah. He got his license back in 2019.
He did.
Yeah.
Probably thought he could be like, a real estate mogul, just like Todd.
Like father, like son, right?
Right. But get this.
What?
The sources you provided say there's no proof he ever sold a single house.
Really?
And his license is inactive now.
So that dream is dead.
Looks like it. Yeah, it's kind of ironic, though,
How so?
because Todd was super skeptical about it back then.
He was.
He even joked about Chase ending up working in a restaurant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And now look,
And now look,
things have taken a turn.
that joke seems kind of prophetic.
It really does. And you know what?
But-
Speaking of things taking a turn,
Yeah.
you flagged this one incident in the source material as super important.
Okay.
Things took a really dark turn for Chase with that whole bar fight in Buckhead.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, on January 6th of this year, Chase was at Twin Peaks. and things got out of control.
Oh, no.
Yeah, according to the bar manager, Chase was drunk
Oh, boy.
and being really disrespectful to the staff.
No.
They asked him to leave like multiple times, but he just wouldn't go.
What a hookup.
Instead, he allegedly assaulted the manager.
Oh, my God.
And there's a 911 call where you can actually hear the manager telling the dispatcher that Chase slapped him twice
Wow.
and might have even used a chair as a weapon.
A chair.
A chair. So the cops show up.
Right.
Chase gets arrested a few days later for simple battery,
Oh.
and now he's facing possible jail time.
So this brings up another interesting comparison between Chase and his parents.
Okay, I'm listening.
The charges against Chase are serious,
Yeah.
but they're still nowhere near as bad as the elaborate long-term fraud that his parents were convicted of.
Right.
So are we seeing a mini-me situation here?
Okay.
Like father, like son?
Hmm.
Or is it more complicated than that?
That's a really good question, and it's definitely worth exploring.
Okay.
On the surface, you see these echoes, the money, troubles, the disregard for the rules, and now this potential for violence.
Yeah.
But then there's this other part of me that wonders if Chase is actually trying to break free and create his own path.
His own path.
Even if he's kind of stumbling along the way.
Right. Maybe this whole bar fight was like a wake-up call.
Maybe.
Like a sign that he needs to make some serious changes before he ends up just like his parents.
Could be a turning point.
Could be. But to really understand what this means for Chase,
Yeah.
The potential consequences of his actions,
Right.
we need to look at the bigger picture. Like, what does this tell us about family, the pull of easy money, and the possibility of, starting over?
That's what we're here to find out.
That's what we're here to find out. And I think that's where things get really, really interesting. We can unpack all of that right after this. All right, so we've talked about Chase's background, his attempts at starting businesses and this whole thing at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like he's been trying to build a life for himself,
Right.
But it's been kind of messy.
Yeah, a little bit messy.
So I'm curious to hear your take on the bigger picture here.
Okay.
What does this all mean, about the influence of family, the allure of easy money, and the possibility of redemption,
Well, it's really interesting to see how all of these themes are playing out in Chase's life, especially compared to his parents.
Right?
Todd and Julie, they built their whole brand on this image of wealth and success.
Oh, yeah.
But it was all built on a foundation of lies.
Right.
They were selling this version of the American dream that turned out to be completely made up.
Yeah, and that IRS quote that you pulled out of the source material,
Right.
it really shows just how betrayed a lot of people felt. It wasn't just about the money.
Yeah.
It was about the fact that they violated everyone's trust.
Exactly. They weren't just hurting themselves. They were
Yeah.
hurting the whole system.
Right.
And you have to wonder, what kind of impact did that have on Chase growing up in that environment?
Yeah.
Did he absorb all of that, those messages about success and what's right and wrong?
Yeah.
Or was he able to separate himself from all of that?
It's hard to say, and then you add in the whole reality TV thing.
Oh, yeah. That adds another layer of complexity for sure.
Right. Because the Chrisleys weren't just living this lavish lifestyle. They were broadcasting it to the world.
They were putting it out there for everyone to see.
And they were making money off of their lies.
It's true.
It's like they created this weird cycle
Mm-hmm.
where the more extravagant they became, the more successful their show was.
Right.
And the more pressure they felt to keep up the facade.
Yeah. It's like they got caught in their own web of lies.
Right.
And it's hard to know if Chase ever really understood what was going on.
Right.
But even if he wasn't directly involved in their schemes, he was still living in that world, benefiting from that lifestyle.
So he was kind of complicit.
In a way, yeah.
Even if it wasn't on purpose.
Yeah.
And now he's facing the consequences of their actions.
He is.
With the Chrisley name now being tied to scandal and lies.
It's really like a Greek tragedy.
Oh, wow.
Where the sins of the father are passed down to the son.
Interesting.
But the big question is, can Chase break free from that?
Yeah, can he create his own identity?
Separate from his parents' legacy. I don't know. It's hard to tell. We see these moments where he seems to be trying to be responsible to, build a real career.
Yeah.
But then he makes these mistakes.
Yeah.
These questionable choices that seem to echo his parents' past.
It's true. And that's what makes his story so fascinating.
Right.
We're all rooting for him to succeed.
To break the cycle.
Exactly. To break free from those patterns.
Yeah.
But then there's this part of you that wonders if he can actually do it.
Right.
Can he really escape his past?
Well, there was one major difference between Chase and his parents.
Oh, what's that?
And it's something you highlighted in the source material.
Okay.
With Todd and Julie in prison, Chase has now become the guardian for his younger brother and niece.
That's right, he has.
That's a big change from like the party boy image we saw on the show.
It is a huge shift, and it makes you wonder, will this new responsibility change him?
Right.
Will it force him to confront his issues and make better choices?
Or will he crumble under the pressure and just repeat the same mistakes?
It's crazy how the tables have turned.
I know, right?
Todd used to threaten to cut Chase off if he didn't get his act together.
He did.
And now Chase is the one supporting his siblings.
Financially and emotionally.
Exactly. And that could be a really powerful thing.
It could be the push he needs to break free from those toxic patterns.
What? And finally embrace like a more responsible and authentic way of life.
Exactly. But let's not forget about the legal trouble he's in.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's got that bar fight hanging over his head.
That wasn't just a silly mistake.
Yeah.
It was a serious incident.
Right.
And it could have some serious consequences.
He could end up in jail.
Just like his parents.
Which would obviously make it really difficult for him to take care of his siblings.
Right.
And, rebuild his life.
It's a critical moment for him. He's at a crossroads.
Yeah.
On one hand, he has this opportunity to redeem himself.
To be a good role model for his brother and niece.
Exactly. But on the other hand, he's carrying the weight of his family's past.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a real chance he could end up making the same mistakes.
It's like we're watching this real-life drama unfold.
It is, and the outcome is uncertain.
But one thing that's really stood out to me throughout this whole deep dive is the power of choice.
Yeah.
Chase isn't just a victim of circumstance.
Right.
He's making decisions, and those decisions are shaping his future.
Absolutely. And the sources you provided, they really emphasize those choices. He could have easily walked away from his siblings.
Yeah.
He could have just kept chasing easy money and fame.
Right.
But he didn't. He chose to step up.
He did.
To be there for them, to try to build something better.
And that's what makes his story so compelling, so relatable.
It is.
Because we all make choices every day.
Every single day.
And those choices, even the small ones, they can really impact our lives and the lives of the people around us.
That's such a good point. It all comes back to redemption.
Yeah.
It's not about being perfect. It's about making progress.
Right.
It's about recognizing your flaws, owning your mistakes, and trying to be better.
Yeah.
Not just for yourself, but for the people you love.
I think that's a great place to leave it for now.
Yeah.
I mean, we've covered so much.
We have.
And honestly, I have more questions now than answers.
That's how it usually goes.
But that's what makes it so interesting, right?
Absolutely.
Life is messy and unpredictable and complicated.
It is.
And it's in those moments of uncertainty that we figure out who we are and what we're capable of.
You said it perfectly.
It's easy to get caught up in all the gossip and speculation about Chase Chrisley.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he's just a young guy facing some real challenges.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, we've talked about the legal stuff from that bar fight.
Right.
But what about the personal impact of all this?
Right.
Can you imagine the pressure he must be under right now?
Oh, it's got to be intense.
Yeah.
I mean, legal trouble, public scrutiny, his family's reputation, and then on top of all that, he's now responsible for his younger siblings.
Yeah, and he's so young.
Way too much for anyone to handle, especially someone in their 20s.
And we can't forget about, the emotional side of it all.
Right, the emotional toll.
It's one thing to mess up, but it's a whole other thing to have your mistakes, plastered all over the news and social media.
Totally.
I wonder how he's dealing with all that attention, the good and the bad.
It's hard to say. Some people love the spotlight while others just can't handle it.
Yeah.
It's tough to predict how someone will react to that kind of scrutiny.
Right.
But one thing's for sure, Chase is going through a huge transition right now. He's being forced to grow up fast and face some hard truths about himself, his family, and the choices he's made.
And it's interesting because in a way, this is like a second chance for him.
A do-over.
Yeah, a chance to redefine himself.
Yeah.
His parents being in prison has put him in this position of responsibility.
Right.
And maybe that's exactly what he needs to break free from the past.
I see what you mean. It's like he's been thrown in the deep end.
Yeah.
Sink or swim.
Right. And how he handles this next chapter, it'll determine not just his future,
right,
but the future of his siblings, too.
A lot riding on his shoulders.
So much pressure. I wonder if he even realized how big of a deal this is.
That's a good question.
Does he see this as an opportunity to redeem himself?
Right.
Or is he still caught up in the drama trying to protect his family name, even if it means repeating their mistakes?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is.
Is he capable of looking inward?
Yeah.
Recognizing his own faults and making a real effort to change?
To be better?
Or will he just keep blaming everyone else, making excuses,
Right.
and holding on to those patterns that have caused his family so much trouble?
It's like we're watching this real-life morality play,
It really is.
and we don't know how it's going to end.
The suspense is killing me.
But one thing that's really hit home for me during this whole deep dive
What's that?
is the power of choice.
Yeah,
Chase isn't just a pawn in this game.
right.
He's making decisions, and those decisions are shaping his life.
Absolutely. And the sources you sent over, they really highlight those choices.
They do.
He could have easily walked away from his siblings.
He could have.
He could have just kept chasing easy money and fame.
Yeah, he could have.
But he didn't.
He didn't.
He chose to step up, to be there for them, to try to build something different.
And that's what makes his story so interesting, so human,
It's true.
because we all make choices every day.
We do.
And those choices, even the little ones, they can have a huge impact on our lives and the lives of the people around us.
So true. It all comes back to that idea of redemption.
Mm.
It's not about being perfect. It's about progress.
Right, about trying to be better,
Recognizing our flaws, making things right, and striving to be better.
not just for ourselves, but for the people we care about. I think that's a perfect place to wrap up this deep dive.
I agree.
We've explored a lot.
We have.
And I have to say, I'm leaving with more questions than answers.
That's how it usually goes.
But that's the beauty of it all, right?
It is.
Life is messy and unpredictable.
And full of surprises.
And it's in those moments of uncertainty
Yeah.
that we truly discover who we are.
And what we're made of.
I think you said it perfectly so.
Yeah.
To our listener out there, as you keep following Chase Chrisley's journey, remember that this isn't just some celebrity gossip.
Right.
It's a story about family responsibility and figuring out who you are when your name carries so much baggage.
It's a story that we can all relate to.
It really is. It's about overcoming challenges, making amends for our past mistakes,
Right.
and finding our own way, even when the world seems determined to keep us stuck in the shadows.
It's about hope and second chances.
And ultimately, it's a reminder that redemption is always possible.
As long as we're willing to put in the work.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us on this journey.
Until next time.
We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into a topic you're curious about.
Can't wait.
Until then, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep those deep dives going.